Yeah. Uh-huh. 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 Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. 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 Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. How you doing there, Crazy Berry Town?
Good afternoon. I'm fantastic. How are you today, STL?
I am marvelous. It's a marvelous Friday, I tell you. It's just it's been a great day. So I'm very excited
Yes.
about what's going on, and I'm so glad that you're here with us on today. I appreciate you for coming in and holding down the fort. We're missing Kim Possible faux show,
Yeah.
but
I
thank you
know. I
so
miss
much.
her.
I know I do too. I definitely do. I want to say good afternoon to MCP 812 and Cassandra Woke. I appreciate you all for being here on this afternoon. And man, Crazy Berry Town, this is a time where I think the power of what you all bring to the table here. I see you, BTD Mom. Good afternoon to you. With so much going on in the country, I don't think I saw something while I was getting ready to come on just now. The count for mass shootings to date in this country is 243.
Right. It
Two,
outnumbers the days of that we've had in the year so far.
isn't that amazing?
It's ridiculous.
243 mass shootings, not just shootings, but mass shootings. So I think it just really speaks so well to how apropos it is that you're holding this space and giving people the opportunity to have a healthy journey through grief. And for that, I just want to say thank you. I don't know what direction you want to go today, but I'm just riding with you. Wherever you take this train, we're riding with you.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to some friends, my girlfriends and I. We talk about things like this often, and we have like a group chat. You know, we text every day, and one of them brought up that exact number, and we were just talking about how obnoxious that is. That they're more, almost double, like the number of mass shootings outnumber the of just this year. We're just talking 2022, and we're like at 100 and something days of of the year or whatever. I don't know, but whatever the case is, the mass shootings outnumber how many days we've had 2022, and that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And sad. It's a sad state of affairs that we live in a country that, for so many people, we've heard over the years, it's the greatest country in America, and I'm gonna do America, to reach my dreams and da 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 da
Yes.
da. And
Yes.
I mean, no shade, but
Yes.
I'm not trying to get dinged on Twitch or anything for bashing the country, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's the greatest or if it's all that great, but to have those kinds of numbers in what is considered a civilized, right, first world country, this should not be.
Yes.
And it's really kind of crazy. Yes, Oklahoma grieving. Yes, thank you, Cassandra Woke, for being here and and holding the light for them. I mean, it's just tragic.
Yes.
And it's just one thing after another, tragedy after tragedy. And like I think you said, ST, I think you mentioned about Iowa,
Yes.
which happened yesterday, which is not getting, I'm not gonna say it's not getting a lot of traction because I haven't really been on these interneticals, as the rebel would say. But that happened. I mean, I think it's up to 4 or 5 people that were killed
Yes.
at that, I think it was a church, right?
Yes, it was.
So
Young
it's
people.
just, yeah, I mean, it's just the grief, and even, like Cassandra said, she's, standing in, and grieving for them. It may not be people we know, but we as grievers, we understand loss.
Yes.
And to know that not someone, but so many people, so many communities back to back to back to back are affected by these mass shootings and thus grieving. We get it.
Yes.
And it affects us too. We feel for them.
Yes.
It's awful. It's just like you can't catch your breath, right? It's
Cannot.
like, oh, here's another one. Here's another. Oh, it's just
I
too
believe
much.
the number was like 23 cents Buffalo. 23 cents Buffalo.
Wow. That's
unbelievable.
So sad.
Unbelievable.
I just it's just, there's so much wrapped up in this, right? The politics of it, the selfishness of it, the foolishness, really, of this idea that people want to take people's guns. It's not even really that. It's just being sensible, smart about gun laws. But we can't even get to that conversation because you get shut down by the here they come trying to take our gun, and it's not that at all.
Not.
And what you said today, and you've said this the number of times about voting. A lot of this comes down to voting, and we have to vote for people that have our best interests. And and then sometimes even still that doesn't work either, but it's a start. It's just it's just too much. It's just too much, child. Rebel said you can't say what you really want to say. Yeah, I can't either. It's actually, it's not even that I can't say it's just so much. Go down one road and then this comes up and you go down another road because there's just so much tangled up in this conversation about mass shootings and gun laws and such, and like going back to Buffalo, I mean, we haven't even had a chance to really talk about the heart of that, which was this person going in specifically to kill Black people, and that's a huge problem in this country. And then Uvalde happens, right? And then Oklahoma, and then Iowa. I mean, you cannot breathe. Literally, I can't breathe,
Yes, I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Yeah, it's awful. It is awful.
So how, and I don't know where you're going today, but I'm just going to ask this question real quickly. For grief being that leveling ground, and grief is grief, I get it. But there's a difference between preparation, somewhat, if you will, for somebody that's terminally ill or something like that. How would you say for those that wake up one morning with absolutely no inclination that their loved one is not going to be there 2 hours from now, 10 minutes from now. How would you say, with that shock of sudden unexpected grief, what would you speak to in that space? Because there's a lot of people right now that had no idea that their loved one is not going to be there at the end of the day. And of course, we never know when the end is, but it's still different when it's just completely and totally unexpected like this.
Yeah, it's tough, especially for in these cases, because not only is it a loss, but it's tragic. Um, it's also in many cases, at least in these four that we just mentioned, they're in the news, so it's constantly before you. Um, the first thing I thought of was protection. Find a way to protect yourself, your peace, protect your grief, because I feel like, as an outsider watching these families, I feel like they're on all the time, because there's cameras and microphones in their face and, all kinds of things. And then people, I'm sure, an outpouring of love from the community, but you're always like on, and I feel like people might not be in that space to really just grieve. So my first thought when you asked that question was protection.
Okay.
Protecting your peace, protect grief the way you want to grieve, protecting your person, obviously, with this grief, as we all have talked about, is sometimes it's, yes, you can have that. Captain Boots is home, sorry. You have that physical pain as well,
Yes.
So finding a way to protect yourself at all costs, because it is a trauma to you. It is a shock to the body, a shock to the mind, a shock to the brain. That, like you said, you go to bed and you get your rest, you wake up the next day, and this happens, and your loved one or loved ones are gone.
Yes.
In this ridiculous, sad, obnoxious way. And so you're dealing with all of that beyond just the loss, right? So protection is my first word, protecting your peace, and just protecting yourself at all costs. Yeah, protect your grief, because what happens is, to me, this is what I feel. You all know, listen, disclaimer for those who are new, you might be lurking. I'm no grief expert. I'm not licensed. I'm associate professor of English and cultural anthropology. Okay, so and cussing. Yeah. Yeah. But so this is just strictly my, thoughts about it. But I feel like sometimes, and I don't know if anybody agrees, but I feel like sometimes, particularly when we people pleasers, or we buy into what society says about grief, we push it down. We push that grief down and hide it. I'm okay. I'm fine. Let me move. Let me do something. I can help you. I can, even though you on the inside are really, really falling apart.
Yes.
You find yourself consoling other people, fixing the food at the repast. You shove your grief down. And so that's why I said protect your grief, because you have to grieve. You need to mourn that loss, just on a base level, the loss of your loved one, your friend, your family, coworker. You need to mourn that loss. And then there's that grief again of the shock, that the bigness of it. And I think that's like a different lane of grief too.
Yes.
And so you need to go through that, and I think, I'm not saying, rah cheering for grief, yes, everybody, let's have a grief party. No, but it's natural. And even when you push it down, it's going to come up and come out at some point. And
Absolutely.
so I think with a large scale loss, such as like a mass shooting or something, just a tragedy, some kind of tragedy, a car accident or whatever, protection is important.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. And I'm glad you touched on shock too.
Mrs. Cox, welcome.
Yes, welcome.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. But shock is huge too. So I'm glad you touched on that. And
Yeah.
sometimes even where I am right now, I still sometimes wonder, am I still in shock? I don't know. It's just kind of like every now and then
Yeah.
I'll kind of be in that phase like, man, I just can't believe it. It's like, is this really real? But at the same time, and I equate that to shock, obviously, because it is real, but
Sure.
there's still that
Mhm.
part of me that's like trying to process the reality of that. And I think that's shock. And it's so even
Yeah.
that's like, how long is it? How long am I going to be in shock? I just don't know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I said this before, I feel like I felt that way the first year or more after my mom died, and I feel like, I mean, I was a wreck. Let's not get it twisted, but
Mhm.
I didn't feel the real pain until like after a year or year and a half. Why? Because I was in shock, and that shock made me numb. When you're
Mhm.
numb, you all know this.
Mhm.
When you're numb, you don't feel anything. I remember I was getting my C-section with Trey, and I kept asking the lady, "Are you sure I'm numb? Are you sure? Like, try it again. Stick me again." They always stick you to make sure you're numb. I'm like, one more time, and she laughed at me because she was like, "You're wearing me out." Like, for real. You don't feel anything when you're numb, right? You know that
Mhm.
that something, like, I knew when they cut me open to get him out, that that's a big thing, and without this numbness there would be pain. The pain is there, but you're numb. And as soon as that numbness wore off, and I had those staples after the C-section, that thing hurt. After the numbness and the shock wore off of losing my mom, it took
Mhm.
about a year and a half. The pain was unbearable. The
Mhm.
holidays, the anniversaries, the Mother's Day, all of that was worse than the first one, because everybody says, you got to get through that first Mother's Day, her
Mhm.
first birthday, the first anniversary of her passing. And I coasted. I mean, I wasn't having a party or anything, and cocktails, but I didn't feel. I was like, I think I should feel worse. I don't really feel
Mhm.
as bad. I was still numb,
Mhm.
and when that numbness wore off, that shock, like you said, it was like I was in day one again. Like, I just felt awful. Um,
Mhm.
so, and I'm not saying I didn't grieve. I think it was just like you said, that shock. I just felt that shock,
Mhm.
and it was just unbearable when that wore off.
Yes.
Um, just like that numbness wears off when you have Novocaine or whatever. You feel still some pain, and
Mhm.
sometimes a lot of pain, depending upon what kind of procedure you might have had. And you feel it, and you do things, obviously take medicine or whatever, to feel better. But with the grief, it's just going through.
Yeah.
You go through pain and all.
That's
Yeah.
good stuff. That's good. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Mrs. Only One Mrs. Cox said, I find myself in shock, um, in some weeks too, especially when I want to call and tell my mom something and it hits me. Yeah, I completely agree, or I get that. I mean, it'll be 5 years in August, and I still feel that way. I still want to um, call her. I still want to send her videos of Captain Boots, or share big things.
Mhm.
um, I was not feeling well. This was not recently, but a while ago, and maybe a couple months ago. And I just wanted to call her because I just knew
Mm.
she would. She was all the way in Connecticut, but somehow she would just make it better. Like, even if
Yes.
I felt like I had a cold or the flu or whatever, I could just call her, and I would just my spirit would be lifted. And I still want to do that sometimes.
Mhm.
So yes, Ms. Only One Mrs. Cox, I completely understand that. The other day, Trey had his first swim meet, and I just resigned myself. I just believe that any thing like that, I'm gonna get full. Like, I had a tightness in my chest,
Mhm.
and I just felt sad because m- my whole life I wanted to be a mother,
Mhm.
and I wanted to be like my mom, and I
Yes.
wanted to show her on earth, because I know there are those here. You're right. You are absolutely right about it. I already know that. I know that for sure after talking to the medium, right? But I wanted to share that with her. I want her to be next to me watching him
Mhm.
swim. I want her to
Mhm.
be next to me watching him graduate from pre-K when he did a few years ago. I want her to be here.
Mhm.
And I've just so and I it hit me at the swim meet. I started getting that tightness in my chest. I was like, I'm still there. And but I just wanted her to be there. I wanted her to to be excited. Like your kid, like that's your kid, right? And sure, everybody's excited for they love him and cheering him on, but when it's your kid and your grandkid, you're like, no one's gonna support like that, right? And I
Mhm.
want that for him. I want that for
Yes.
me. And
Mhm.
I said to Tim, I said, well, Jesus, I mean, we're having a good time. He came in second place in his first ever event, and I'm crying.
Yes. Yes.
And I
Yes.
just said, I just give it up and just say, this is how it's gonna be. And get it out. And although I had to kind of hold it in because it was like all these people. The swim meet was quite a production. Tons and tons of people. I've never seen so many people at the pool in my life. And so I had to kind of hold it in. But I felt that tightness and the tears kind of welling up,
Mhm.
um, purely because I was just so excited. Um, and um, what I wanted my whole life is gone in terms
Mhm.
of that sharing that with my mom. Like I said before, people would ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? A mother. I
Mhm.
didn't want to be married. I did not want to be a professor. I actually back then I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. Um, but it was always a mother because I wanted to share that with my mom because she talked about how much she missed her mom. She lost her mom when she was 20, I think 26 because she
Okay.
had me when she was 24, I believe, and my grandmother died when I was 2. And so
Mm.
she would always talk about how she wished her mom was here when I went, had dance recitals, graduated from high school, all those things. And I
Yes.
said, no sweat, because that's going to be me and you, girl,
Oh, yes.
and there we go,
Yes.
So um, those events, they're great. But sometimes they're really hard because, again, now that shock and the numbness has worn off, I feel, even in
Mhm.
the good times, you all know grief is weird like that, right? You
Mhm.
you could be having the highest highs, and it'll just seep right in there. Um, and that's just that. And I've just decided that that's just, at least for now, how it's going to be.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, it's just, hey, that's what it is. And I shook it off. Plus, I was working too. That's the other thing I think too. I got to keep volunteering for jobs at the swim meet because that helped keep the tears back. But
Mhm.
I was backup timekeeper. So I couldn't cry because I needed to see the stopwatches. I'm like, I can't cry and,
I
mess
see
up
the
these
tears.
stopwatches and stuff. So, so I think I'm going to keep volunteering because I have a
Uh-huh.
feeling I'm going to keep crying. Like I have a feeling because his first swim meet, he did two events. He got second and third place, and he's only going to get better. So I just know there are going to be more tears.
That's all
So
good.
yeah, I'm going to keep volunteering so I don't mess up. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I don't know how I got on that tangent, but what I was thinking about today is in light of, and so this was a really good segue in how you began talking about all that's going on right now. And I say this all the time, but I want to dive into it for a few minutes and talk about joy. And I want to hear from you all, right? I want to talk about how you all find joy. I talk about
Mhm.
it all the time. I've been saying find joy, find the joy, but recently I've been saying chase it, go after it. Because there's a difference to me in find just like, oh, I found something, you stumble on something, as opposed to vigorously going after something. And I want to hear from you how, even in your grief, um, in your low moments, how or what brings you joy? How do you
Mm.
chase after joy? What brings you joy? What can help maybe someone else? So maybe what you do, might bless someone else. Hold on one second. Let me mute to ask. Actually, I could hold on one second. Can you bring me
Sure.
a napkin or tissue or something? I need to wipe my nose, crying and
You're fine.
carrying on.
You're
Yeah.
fine. You're fine.
Thanks, Pumpkin.
Wait a minute, Rebel. You better weep, Wanda.
I got you. Thank you, stupid.
Listen, it's all love here. And I have to say, I can applaud you. And I'll say this: I think I shared with you after the show was over. But the one time I was overcome and started crying, I just took myself out the whole stream and came back when
Right.
I was. But
Right.
but I applaud your ability to just share those tears and the running nose. I think there's something beautiful about that. I'm gonna keep working till I get to that. One of these days, I'm gonna be there. One of these days, I'm gonna
Do
get there.
you?
Yeah.
Do you?
There's,
Whatever works,
I think
you
there's something
know.
healing in that. I think there's something healing in that. Listen, even
Yeah,
Rebel
I
said it
mean,
is.
plus I'm one of those. It really is. No, for I don't do it for that reason. I don't really have a shame. I'm pretty transparent, uh, for the most part. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I've always been one of those. I can cry in public, whatever. Plus, too, it sometimes I can't help it. Like I'm one of those people that I can't see other people cry. Like literally, somebody could be walking down the street on their cell phone or something, talking to someone and crying I'll cry with them. Like I don't even know why. I'm just gonna cry. So I'm just that
Too.
way.
Believe it or not,
Like
I'm
so,
like
y'all
that.
don't cry because I'm crying too. I don't know. It's weird.
Uh, oh man. Finding and chasing the joy. Hey, truck. That's my Mufasa. Weeping Wanda, let's go. Rebel, you're not right. You are not right.
Yeah. So let's talk about joy, people. What brings you joy? What brings you joy? Because that's the thing too. I think sometimes as well that when we are grieving, sometimes we feel, and I say we because this is really
Mhm,
me,
mhm,
particularly on the front end of it, we feel guilty for feeling joyous. We feel
mhm,
guilty. Some people, it depends on the situation, but some people say it's survivor's remorse. Like
mhm,
you feel
mhm,
bad that you're still here, but your loved one isn't. And so when you feel happiness and joy, you feel like, oh, I shouldn't feel that way. Um, I don't know if that was it for me. I just felt bad. Like I just felt like I shouldn't be feeling this joy or
mhm,
smiling and laughing. I should still, like, as if there was some timeline for grief or something. I don't know. I don't know. I'm
mhm.
a nut. But I do, when I say we, I really mean, you say hi to everybody since you just like, photobombing.
He
Hello.
probably mom. Hey, Captain Boots, so good to see you. All kind of congratulations on second place. Listen, let me come here. Captain Boots, second place. Yes, get ready for the Olympics. Get ready for the Olympics.
Yes. Olympics, here we come. Yeah. He's like, okay.
Yeah. So much for that.
So yeah, I feel like we feel bad sometimes when we're
Yep.
happy or having a good time. Like I never forget, I was out with some friends, like maybe just like maybe 2 months after my mom died. I mean, I was kikiing, honey, probably cussing and having a good time and whatnot. And I literally stopped in my tracks, like, oh, I shouldn't be this happy. Why? Like I caught myself being happy, and
Mhm.
enjoying my friends' company. And they were doing what they were supposed to do. They did it. They were cheering me up and we were having a good time. And I literally stopped like right in the midst of it and was like, I shouldn't be feeling this way.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's a real thing. It I won't say it's ridiculous because I don't want to make anybody feel bad, but we all do it, right? Um, and it's a natural thing to feel that way. I think, at least in some of the things that I've read, um, and it's natural to feel bad for being happy or joyous when you are, especially in those beginning stages or beginning moments of grief. So I think it's important to one recognize that two truths can be held at the same time, right?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
can have a loss, have experienced loss, and in your heart feel grief and feel sad for that loss and miss that person. But at the same time, you can also have fun. You can
Mhm.
find the joy. You can smile. Um,
Mhm.
all at the same time.
Yes.
And sometimes you might experience it in the same, event, or moments. Like for the swim meet, I cried for like a hot second. And then, like I said, I had to get it together to read the stopwatches, but then it was
Mhm.
cheer, cheer, cheer. Let's
Yes.
have a good time. So yes, people, I'd like to hear from you. What brings you joy? Um, the
MCP says every time I look outside and see, okay, so her daughter's name was Valerie, and Valerie named her car Chucky. And she was a speed demon. She really should have been a NASCAR racer. I'm telling you, she had that kind of skill, and she drove fast, but she was very skillful in that driving. But Chucky was the name of her car. So MCP said every time I see Chucky the Challenger, it gives you joy because Valerie had the opportunity to experience her dream car, and that car is the bomb. I mean, it really is. But it's a
that's
hot
nice.
ride, my baby. It gets up and goes. It picks it up and puts it down. So that's the joy that she gets from
Yeah.
being able to look out and see Chucky. So that's awesome. That's awesome.
That's nice. And it's something that's right there. Yeah.
Yes.
Making
Yes.
people laugh brings me joy. Yeah, and that's clear. And you're so good at it, Rebel. But it is healing. Yes,
Uh-huh.
it is
Uh-huh.
healing. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of, and this is one of those things that um, like the turn it around clip. Yeah, that's turn it around clip. Is the best. But you feel just, you feel like the lift in
Uh-huh.
the atmosphere when you're bringing people joy, when you make people laugh. It really does. It's a freeing and really, really good feeling. And the
Yes.
Rebel is so good. Like she's the minister of laughs.
The
I mean,
crack.
she's so good at it, and
Yes.
is better for it after we leave her, online presence. We're all better,
Yes.
and that can't help but make you feel better. Yeah,
Yes. One
totally the
thing
crack.
I'll do, like when I'm serving a family in grief, particularly at that first meeting at the funeral home, oftentimes it comes in and it's so heavy and everybody's so stressful. And I mean, it's just really uncomfortable. And usually what I will do to break that ice at the appropriate time, because there's a place for crying, there's a place for all of that.
Sure.
But at the appropriate time and space, to help shift the atmosphere, sometimes I will often say, especially if the grieving is really, really bad, tell me a
Mm,
funny story about your loved one. And it's like
yeah,
they'll sit there for a second and they'll recall something. And I mean, before they even tell the story, they
I
just
love
bust out
that.
laughing. They're cracking up. They're remembering, and you can tell. Sometimes they can't even get the story out because they're laughing just that hard.
Oh, I
And it's like it
love
always
that.
turns the tide, so that we can go on
Mhm.
and feel more natural, get some of that grief lifted. Something about that levity just
Yeah,
does something.
yeah. Here's the thing about stories. I don't know if you noticed this, but when you ask someone to tell us, especially if they're not expecting it. I
Mhm.
learned this in grief therapy. Um, when you ask someone to share a story, particularly a story, I think it's the story that makes the difference. Is they always take a deep breath.
Mhm.
And when someone's grieving, that sometimes we do kind of forget to breathe, or our breathing is because our
Yes.
heart's racing or whatever. So I love that you do that you can tell a funny story, because I would like to bet money that after they think want to share, they take a deep breath and sharing that story. And that breath is everything. That getting that breath, that inhale and that exhale, it's life,
Yes.
So I love that you do that. I think that's a great thing, and we should do that here. Like we should tell funny stories about our loved ones. I think that would be a good stream. Yeah, you think so? Captain B
I've heard
said,
some
yeah.
really interesting stories. I mean, some of the stuff that I've heard has been hilarious. And some of it I'm
I
like, "Oh my
bet.
god, oh my god." But it's the best
Yeah.
thing ever. And there's something in that reminiscence for the loved ones that remain to be able to speak forth what they did in their life and enjoy that. So when you start talking about chasing the joy, I think that's one way for something that I've learned in saying, okay, that for me is that particular moment of chasing the joy, because you just
Mhm.
feel, man, that heaviness sometimes can be so thick you can just cut it. And
Mhm.
chasing the joy, with that story is just so uplifting.
Yeah. It's intentional too, right?
Yes.
It's intentional because natural and feeling sad, it just happens, right? Like I said, in the middle of a swim meet, here I am, bawling my eyes out. It just happens. And so that chasing the joy is intentional. And
Yes.
speaking of chasing joy, DJ Chanel B is here. Hey, love, good to see
Hey.
you. welcome. I'm thinking about her because she just went to London
Mhm.
for the live Soul Train stream, and um and I'm not giving anything away because I mean I don't know, all I know is looking at her videos um of her doing the TikTok dance in all the different places that she was in Paris and London and stuff. That's chasing joy. And one thing she did say, I don't mind me saying it, is she was kind of on the fence about going. Like, should I go to London? Should I not? And she just decided, you know what? I'm going. I'm going to live my life. What's stopping me, right? And she went, from what I can tell, right, DJ Chanel B, and you had a good time meeting those
Yes.
people, going to, you know, last minute decision to go to Paris. Her trip was to London, and then boop, she texts up, getting ready to go to Paris. Say what? That is chasing the joy. Doesn't mean that everything is perfect, doesn't mean
Yes.
that what is going on in our lives is not going on anymore because we choose joy. No, it
Yes.
doesn't. And her trip shines such a on literally chasing the joy, eating the birds in the park, eating what I saw in the video yesterday with LV, the buddy chip buddies or whatever. That is joy,
Yes.
and making a choice
Yes.
when maybe one side of your brain says, mm-mm, you don't need to do that, you can't do that, you shouldn't feel that way, and then the other side says, no, I'm going after that joy. And that is what I think is such a beautiful thing. Because look at all the memories. If you all follow DJ Chanel B, if you're not, you should.
Mhm.
On her Instagram, she has all these amazing videos and pictures that just exude joy, exude happiness and fun and love and friendship. And those are the kinds of memories and the kinds of things that I think um, soften the things that don't feel sometimes. So
Mhm.
when we do have that pain, Rebel, deep down, when we have that pain deep down, or that
Mhm.
grief or whatever, we have that joy that we chased. We can rely on those memories and make a decision to go after it again in another way. So maybe
Yes.
it's not London the next time or Paris. It might be, a girlfriend's trip. It might be taking yourself to the movies. It might, because you know how good that felt. Chasing that joy and getting that and basking in that only makes you want more, to
Mhm.
me, you
Mhm.
know? So thank you, DJ Chanel B, for being here today and for reminding me of your trip, because that when I see her smile and those around her in those videos, it is all joy, all
Yes.
joy. About to die.
Yes.
Let me find the plug. Give me 1 second.
Sure, sure. No worries. In the
One
meantime,
second.
Mike City, he's in the room, y'all. He's in the room. Mike City, we're so glad to have you. Thank you for coming through. And we'll be supporting him as Shelby is on a journey. And we just want to share love with them as they journey on, and know that you got support from all of us. The Lions Den, CBT, Crazy Berry Town, Chanel B, the Rebel Inc. Listen, we're all supporting the fam on the journey. So much love coming to you. That's my guy. That's my guy. And if you're not following him, listen. Oh, I'm working on it. I've been working on it since day one, Mike City. I've been working on that. I've been working on it since day one, and I hope it's getting better. It's still not at your level. I'm still not professional like you are, sir. But I've been working on it. I surely have. Welcome to the stream today. Thank you for coming. Yes, ma'am. Go right back. I was just chit-chatting till you got it together.
No, I forgot. It's such a production in this house because I have to redo everything every time I stream anything because I'm in my living room. But and I forgot my cord to my laptop. So sorry, y'all.
Listen.
But hey, Mike City, welcome. I'm not going to do the yurt because I know I'm not even good at it. So that's not my ministry. Okay?
Listen.
So Lawanda's chasing joy, all of June.
Yeah, I
all
like
of
that.
June, because it's
I
her
love
birthday
that.
coming up. And let's see what else is happening here. All right. Truck driver, I don't think I said, hey, brother, how are you today? I'm glad to see
Yes.
you. I hope
Move.
you're doing well. And it's the weekend, y'all. So there's joy in that, right? If nothing else,
Yes.
it's the
Yes.
weekend. So for me, there's all kinds of ways. So what we're talking about, those who just joined us, are ways that even in the midst of grief or loss or um, something tied into that, is what are some ways that what are some things that bring you joy? How do you can answer, how do you find or chase joy, or what brings you joy? Um, so that's we sort of segued into a little bit after talking about things that are going on, like current events, and how that's all tied into grief, and how we think about those, even though it's not us who are affected. Like, I don't know anyone personally, or even 6 degrees of separation, I don't think I know anyone that's been affected by the mass shootings, but we as grievers, we get some level of that, at least at base level, the loss of
Yeah.
their loved ones.
Yeah.
And so we started off talking about that, and then segued into, in the midst of all of that, how we can find joy. So for some people, it's travel. Um, I love traveling. Like, I mean, I my passport is crazy. Not lately though. My last trip was to Thailand, March 2020, like a nutcase. I thought about canceling my trip, but I was like, well, COVID, I don't know what this thing is. And at the time when I left, there were only 35 cases in Thailand, and there were only 100 here. So I was like, oh, I'm fine. So my last trip out of the country was to Thailand, and literally I came back, and that next month, so I came back that Thursday night, late night, like midnight. And then by that weekend, everything was like shutting down. Schools
Mm.
were closed, jobs, everything. I was like, oh, okay, so this is a thing. All right, glad I got back here.
Yes.
But I love traveling. And so, with COVID and everything, we've done domestic, once we started back traveling, going to see, well, we weren't really going to see a lot of family because we wanted to protect each other, right? So we've done a couple of trips to Orlando, and then of course to California for 2 weddings. But travel is also nice. But outside of travel, there are things you can do. I think sometimes things that I learned this as well. I've gotten back into reading, like hard copy books. And that was something I loved to do before my mom passed. But then after she died, I just couldn't concentrate. I couldn't just
Mhm.
focus. I did a lot of audiobooks. So
Mhm.
sometimes we rediscover some past joys, some things that we used to like or used to do, that we now feel like we can do again. And so for me, I've been actually reading more hard copy books, with just sitting down, being quiet, and reading. So sometimes it's just simple things. For some people, it's picking up a hobby that you used to do. Um, if for some, it might be something with other people, entertaining, making people laugh, as the Rebel said, that brings her joy. For some people, it's hosting and entertaining, um, a backyard barbecue, or something like that. So there's so many things. Only one Mrs. Cox said travel. Yeah, Miss Only one
Yeah.
Mrs. Cox. I don't know if you all follow her on Instagram, but sis be out of here. Okay, she gets going. I love to see her travels. Yeah,
Ah!
she travels for sure. And I love to see that, because that keeps you busy, and it helps you again to sort of get through those days, and you're creating new memories. You're creating new memories, and you can rely on those memories when you might start feeling a little down or a little sad. Um, MCP 812, reading really helps. Yeah, and I used to feel, and I remember when I first started reading some books after my mom died, and I just couldn't get through it. I was so frustrated with myself because I
Mhm.
love reading. Um, I was, I'm not, listen, I am nobody's angel.
Mhm.
But when I was a kid, though, I much preferred to be in the house reading than being outside. I hate being outside. I really do. Unless it's at the beach, forget it. So I was one of those kids that, strangely, I was one of those nerdy kids that really just liked being in the house and reading. That all changed kind of when I got to like high school and college, and then I just turned into your average bad girl. Just kidding. But so I don't want anybody to think, here who she is. She's trying to act like she's all, cute and all holy. No, I am not at all. But back then, like when I was like Trey's age. Like I never wanted to go to. It's way overrated, completely. I never wanted to go to camps or any of that. And my mom finally had to get it in her head. I don't know if she thought I was just going to be in the house eating up everything and watching TV. I just wanted to read, like Nancy Drew, honey, Encyclopedia Brown, Judy Blume. Listen, all day, right? All day. So, and that's all I wanted to do. And so after my mom died, like that, I just couldn't concentrate. And I was so mad, so frustrated. And so
Yeah.
now I'm finding the joy again in what I really love to do, which is just to get lost in the pages of a book. The audiobooks have gotten me through. I've listened to a lot of audiobooks. But that wasn't always my jam. I love to just open up a book and read it. And I just the quietness and the
Yes.
concentration was too
Mhm.
much. I
Mhm.
would hear the phone call that I got about my mom. I would just relive things, and it was just too quiet. So
Yes.
so recently I've just picked the books back up. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I see. Val was your driver. Yeah, that makes sense. Truck driver, you said have a shot. Say less before we close out. I will go get a shot. He ain't said nothing but a word. I will.
Yeah.
I will step away with time and say, listen. Okay, in 5 minutes, I'll go get a shot. We doing it.
There we go.
Let's see. Mike City said he's a reader. Yeah, outside is totally overrated. So much so that I got myself in trouble to not go to camp one time. Actually, my mother sent me to camp, and I got they had 3 strikes. It was an overnight camp. The worst. That's like what nightmares are made of. Overnight camp? Who does that to their kid? So I found out that you get sent home if you got 3 strikes. And
Oh
so
my
I
God.
got 3 strikes in 2 days, and my mother had to come and get me. Now, she beat me all the way home, but it was worth it because I got to go home. So it was awful. So bad. I was like, who sends their kid to overnight camp? That is like,
That's
no,
funny.
it's so
That is
torturous.
so funny.
So people ask me all the time, they say, so where are you gonna send Trey to sleepaway camp? Hell no, I ain't sending him to sleepaway camp. No. No, I can't. I don't even know anything else to say. And honestly, I mean, he drives me crazy, like completely. But if I had it my way, I wouldn't even send him to regular camp because at least not the whole summer. But I have to
Yes.
work. So, but we have a
Yes.
good time. Like today, we cleaned the entire kitchen and including the oven and the refrigerator. He likes to do stuff like that. So I'm like, I need him here this summer. I got this whole house to clean. So, but whatever. But yes, look, if I can barely send him to local camp, who thinks I'm gonna send him to sleepaway camp? Not this chick.
Uh,
No, no. So that summer, so yeah, I got beat all the way home. And but literally, so my mother's like, well, I have to work. And she cussed me out. I got to work. And then I said, that's fine. I'll stay home and read every day. I'll do chores and read every day. And guess what I did? I did that every single day. I read and then she realized, oh, okay, this is not her ministry. Like she thought she was doing the right thing by sending me to camp. And I ain't
Yes.
want it. So right, Rebel with his old stuff. Listen, that brother, he has been here. He is so old.
He's been here before. He's
He
been
really
here.
has. He has his little coffee mug. He drinks his tea in the morning and stuff. And oh my God. So yeah, I don't know, LaWanda. I don't know where I got him from, but Lord, I thank you because I was cleaning the fridge. So I started cleaning the fridge and he was like, oh, can I help? I'm like, yes, get your. So, but wait, Rebel, listen, Rebel, you're going to fall out. Listen. So he was like, okay, wait a minute. I'll be right back. So he runs off or whatever. And here he comes with yellow rubber gloves. I said, the kid had to get his rubber gloves. He said, I'm ready. I don't know, but that brother, so he was responsible for the door of the refrigerator. That door ain't been cleaner since the day we got that refrigerator. He cleaned his butt. I should put him out there for hire. Like, y'all need some help. Get that brother to make some money.
Oh my God.
He has rubber gloves because we use rubber gloves for tie-dye. And and so he had some in his room from the last time we did tie-dye because he was running off. I'm like, everything we need's in the kitchen. Why are you running off? And so he comes back. I'm ready, so like a surgeon, he's scrubbed in, whatever. But he cleaned the heck out of that fridge. He's checking the expiration dates. I think we need to throw this out. This says 2019, whatever. So
Oh,
yeah, so
he
he's
get
my Joyce. I don't have to look far, but
I love it. I love it.
but I hope all of you, though, on the real, let me come back. But I hope all of you, though, are um, in ways of coping with grief. Because again, I'm not saying that we shouldn't grieve, or we're even using joy to mask the grief. Not at all. But again, we can chew gum and walk at the same time, right?
Mhm.
And I don't think anybody, at least not at the very moment, is sitting at home at this very moment in a corner, rocking back and forth and crying. We all recognize that we have to get up and go, right? But there are times where the grief gets us down. There are times where it's overwhelming sometimes. Um, and chasing that joy kind of counters that sometimes. Yeah. Lawanda says, I put the fear of germs in my girls when they were young, so they stayed on point with Clorox. Now I regret that as adults because they act like they aren't my kids. Oh Lord, right? Let's see. DJ Stacy Blesswell. Not everyone can do that. Do what? What are you referring to? I've said so much, I don't even know. Let's see. Does he have an ascot? No, but he probably, if he knows what it is, he probably want one, Rebel. I'm not even gonna lie.
See, see.
He is an old man. He really is. I don't know where I got my kid from. I swear. I just don't know. Yeah. So then, of course, this one really tells you he's not like most kids. Again, he says we get done later. Oh, not chew gum and walk. Okay, so I'll go back to my other saying. Two things can be true at the same time. Let's go with that. But so when he gets done with the refrigerator, he says, "All right, what next?" I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "I'm tired. We gotta take a break. Let's have some lunch." What next? With the gloves. What are we cleaning now? Baseboards? It's ridiculous. Oh god, so ridiculous. I swear, I don't understand. So yeah, two things can be true at the same time. We can it's like we're kikiing and having a good time. We have a blast with anti-morning bangos, and we're all over doing different things and hanging out with different people, and we're having a good time. We're chasing that joy with our friends. But we all know that buried in there, for some deeper down than others, is that grief and that
Mhm.
sadness,
Mhm.
shock, maybe. It's there, and it's not, from what I can tell, and talking to people that have grieved big losses even longer than me, from what I can tell, it's not going away. And so what we can do for ourselves and for our spirit is to find that joy and find those little pockets where we can smile, make
Mhm.
others smile. Because that, like Rebel said, that's what you know brings her joy.
Yes.
And for many people, bringing other people joy is what makes them happy. My mom was one of those people, that always liked to do for others. She would sit back and say, you all being happy makes me happy. So
Mhm.
those pockets, I think, are really helpful to us, when we are feeling down. And that's why I say it's a you know joy itself, is a noun, is a noun. Joy is a noun, but it's not just going to come. In many cases, we have to put a verb with it and find it, chase
Mhm.
it,
Mhm.
so that we can fill ourselves up with that, for those
Mhm.
times that we need it. I think that's really important, right? Lawanda said he is me all over. Yeah, Tim is very laid back. Yeah, yeah. Captain Boots. Yeah, he is me for the most part. Yeah, yeah. Definitely. He got his looks from my husband, but when he was younger, now he looks just like me. Thank God. But I don't say thank God because my husband isn't handsome. I'm saying thank God because I did a lot of work in that hospital, laying on my butt for 24 hours a day for over 100 days. So he should look like me. As I told him when he was first born, he looked just like my husband. I was like, I'm taking you back. Like, I was on bed rest for 3.5 months, and you have the nerve to look like your father?
That is too funny.
No, I don't think
Too
so.
funny.
No. What? How much is it gonna cost? Can we talk about it after stream? I'm almost done. You can get something when I'm done, okay?
It's what,
$8, but you only have 5.
Can you loan him
We're
3?
gonna work on the math, okay? He's like, can I get such and such with my $5? How much is it gonna cost? 8? Well, that ain't it. You only got 5. Okay. Okay, you can get it. Because you did a good job on the fridge. I was just telling them about your fridge cleaning skills. Yeah. Thank you. Look, he gave me my
He
money.
earned that. He earned that.
It's your money. It's your money.
No, I'm saying you gave me my money for anyway, y'all. Listen, Crazy Berry Town in full effect. All the time.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
It's hard to grieve around here because it's always hilarious. It's just foolishness all the time. All right, is it time for my shot? Okay, wait. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah. Let me get my. Hold on 1 second. Truck driver, you still here? Test paging.
Get ready.
All right, hold on. I'll be right back.
Here we come with the shots. And with that, listen, I appreciate everybody that's holding space with us on today. And anybody else that wants to take a shot with Crazy Berry Town and Truck Driver, help yourself. But listen, as we go on this journey together, I want to appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing from your heart. Because listen, we're all in this together and the journey is real. No doubt about it. The journey is real. We're lifting up Kim. Kim is out this week and then she'll be out next week also because many of you heard the pastor in Atlanta that was shot and burned. That was Kim's friend, personal friend and colleague. And so she will be out. The funeral services will be going on. So I want you to remember her as she's absent from us these next couple of days. But again, as Crazy Berry Town has said, now, did you see the size of that jug she brought back? She's about to find the joy. Joy! She is about to find the joy. And with that, Crazy, take it away. Crazy Berry Town, just go right on. Because that's
DJ Stacy Blessed. Yeah,
you
take
have.
a shot. What happened to Truck Driver? Like, I'm waiting for him. He's he twisted my arm.
Listen, Truck should be driving. I don't want him drinking and driving.
Oh, yeah. So I thought maybe he was home.
And listen, after okay, we'll see. Crazy Berry Town.
Yeah, I mean, I can come hang out on the Discord. If anybody wants to hang out with us in the Discord today, I'll be there for a few minutes because I'm going to roll over to Mike City after a while and hang out and support Shelby today. So we'll come in the Discord and see what everybody is up to. So I'll jump in after we finish. Yeah.
Thank you for those prayers going up to Kim. Thank you. Yes. So either way, because I'm happy if we want to go. I want to say thank you to Tuana's Twitch, who has resubbed. I appreciate you, sis, and we miss you. So glad that you're here.
Hi, Tuana's Twitch.
How much? How much is in that? Come on. You got the. He said, let's go. He said he's ready. Let's do this.
It's an ounce. I've got an ounce here. All right, everybody. So cheers to everyone. Happy Friday. And I'm going to make a toast to joy. A toast to joy. Everybody out there, be intentional. Joy is a noun. It only works when we put a verb to it. So go find and chase some joy today, tomorrow, every day. Cheers.
Cheers. Ode to joy. There it is.
Yeah. That tastes like another one. That was amazing.
It's like more. That's what they say. It tastes like more. They have a taste.
Oh, let me get that last little bit for you.
Put that tongue roll in there. Get all the corners and everything.
I know, right? You were trying to learn DJ Stacy Bless one. I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah, I don't have any behavior. I know most days. I try. Listen, I wake up every day and say today's the day. You're gonna be normal. You're just gonna act right, and then I open my eyes and put my feet on the floor. Then it's over. So yeah, sorry.
All good. We love you just the way you are. We won't want you any other way. Dr. Dady Priest, the high
Dr.
priest.
Dady Priest.
I know I'm gonna stop anytime I seen my sister's name because listen,
Yes.
between Dr. Dady, Crazy Berry Town, man, I'm telling you, Fairly All Day. I'm telling you, Beauty for You. These folks, Rebel, y'all just make me feel so. Oh, she's getting that. There's another.
I know.
Tastes
I
like
just need this.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm not mad, but thank you for being here, Dr. Dady.
Aw.
If you're not following her in Engagement Matters, come on. Yeah, come on. Oh, so he
Oh,
can get
truck driver, I just saw that.
one.
Thank you. So cheers
that
to
pretty?
you. Thank you.
Oh, that is so
And
pretty.
cheers to you, Dr. Dady Priest. Here you go. Mhm.
I love it. I love it. And with that, it's wherever you want to go with that, Crazy Berry Town is your call. But I love you, sis. Thank you so much for this.
I'm about to be lit. We should stream. Listen, look, hey, you say less, right? No, seriously, everybody. This is what I love about us, and I love about our community here. Community meaning STL and all of us. And just like truck driver sending $5 to Captain Boots so he could get what he wanted. We're just so loving, and this is what we need. In our support of loss and grief. Yes, we're laughing and we're having a good time. We're drinking, but this kind of support and community is what we need. And going back to earlier in the stream, for those who came a little late, STL asked a question about what to say. What do you say when people experience that shock, that tragic loss and grief, and its protection? And one way to build that layer of protection is through your community, having the right people around you, knowing who you can lean on. A couple of months ago, I said, "Who's your grief team? Do you have people you can call on when you're feeling sad, when you need to talk to someone?" And I honestly, I don't have everybody's phone number here, but if I did, I feel like I could call on any one of you that's in this chat right now as part of my grief team. And that's what this is all about. And I just want to say, I'm not going to take any more shots because I've got to get it together. But cheers to everybody in the chat, because you're here. You're here for support. You're here to offer support, maybe both. And I love you all for that. And thank you so much for being here today. And just being part of our community, being part of all of our grief team. And thank you so much. Have an awesome weekend. I'll be in the Discord. I'm going to jump in the Discord when we hang up. Thank you all for being here. Have some weekend. Find the joy. Find the joy. You deserve it. You're worth it. Have an awesome weekend. Thank you all so much.
Peace for your journey.